Hello students, in this lecture we are going to discuss about some useful properties of linear and time invariant systems. So basic property of convolution of a linear time invariant system is a commutative property. Suppose an x of t input is applied to a system with an impulse response h of t and output y of t. So this can be written mathematically using convolution integral. We can write down the process by this equation where x of t and h of t are convolved together, and x of t is x of tau here is the input signal and h of t minus tau is impulse response. Now this is actually commutative, right? So if you write down this equation in this form, it won't matter, the answer would be same. So if you convolve h of t with x of t or x of t with h of t, either way you will get the same result, right? So it doesn't matter whether h of t is shifted and reversed or x of t is shifted and reversed, doesn't matter. Then other property is the distributive property. This is useful when systems are connected in parallel, right? You can see in this figure that two systems having impulse responses h1 of t and h2 of t are connected in parallel, and an input of x of t is applied. The output produced by the system is y of t. So we can actually simplify this by adding the impulse responses of these two systems and then applying input to this. So this is called the distributive property. So either you add the impulse responses first and then convolve it with the input, or you convolve input with h1 and convolve input with h2 separately, then add those together. It won't matter, the answer would be same. The response y of t that you will get in the end should be same in either case. And the third property of convolution of LTI system is associative property. It is useful when two LTI systems are connected in cascade, like this in this figure. H1 and H2 are two LTI systems connected in cascade. So the input first is applied to H1 of t, and then the product is again convolved with H2 of t. The output is produced. So convolution of H1 and H2 first, then the convolution with x of t, or the convolution of x of t and h1 of t first and then with h2 of t. So either way you should get the same answer. Now we have so far discussed LTI systems with memory. So what if the LTI system has no memory, right? So in that case, if the LTI system doesn't have any memory, then the impulse response of the system should be equal to 0 when time is not equal to 0, right? Because memoryless system doesn't depend upon the past or the future inputs, right? So its output is only instantaneous. Whatever the input is applied, the output is produced. So impulse input is applied when time is equal to 0. So h of t is equal to 0 when time is not equal to 0, and it is equal to non-zero when time is equal to 0. So this is what the impulse response of a system without memory should look like. So the output of memoryless system is equal to input multiplied by some constant, right? So x of t is simply the instantaneous value of the input. So whatever the instantaneous value of the input is, output would be same multiplied by some constant. So if input is impulse, then the impulse response of LTI memoryless system would be h of t equal to k into delta t. And if k is equal to 1, the system becomes identity system. It means whatever the input is, the same output is produced, right? So that system is called identity system. So when the system LTI system is identity system, then the convolution formula is simply same as the shifting property of impulse function. So shifting property is when you multiply or convolve unit impulse function with any signal or any other function, you get the shifted value of x of t. Invertibility of LTI system. This is another very important property and it has many applications in communication systems. So an LTI system with impulse response h of t is invertible only if an inverse system h1 of t exists. It means when input is applied to any invertible system, for example h of t, and output is produced y of t, for example, and then that y of t is applied to input of h1 of t, then output produced by h1 of t is same as the input, which is x of t. So that is when suppose h of t, the actual system, and h1 of t, the inverse of h of t, are connected in cascade together, and input applied to h of t is x of t, and the output produced by h of t is y of t, for example. And when y of t is applied as an input to h1 of t, the output produced by h1 of t is same as x of t, because h1 of t is inverse of h of t. So if you see that input of this system and output of this cascade of these systems are same, x of t and x of t. So we can say the cascade of these two functions is simply identity system, delta of t. So it means the convolution of h of t and h1 of t should be equal to delta t, the identity function. So as I told you, this property of LTI system is very important. For example, when signals are transmitted over a communication channel and are received at the receiver end, so during the transmission, during the communication path, which we call usually channel in communication systems, the path followed by the signal from receiver to transmitter is called the communication channel. So this channel either can be a fiber optic cable, can be a copper cable, can be a wireless channel, wireless medium, right? So during the transmission, the channel have the characteristics that degrade the signal, right? So signal is basically distorted when it is transmitted, and at the receiver end it is distorted. So as shown in this figure, the actual signal transmitted by the communication system is this one, and at the end, when it is at the receiver end, you can see its shape is somehow different than this one. So we call it a distorted signal. Every channel have these characteristics. All the signals deteriorate or are distorted over the communication path. So what we can do, if we have the model of the channel and we inverse that model, right, and if we multiply this signal with the model of the inverse of the channel, then you can get same signal from that. So that inverse of the model is usually called equalizer in communication system. So channel equalizers are actually inverse systems, inverse of the channel models, and they are used in many communication systems. They are part of the receivers, where the signals are first recovered to their original shape like this, and then processed further at the receiving end. So this is one of the applications. Other is causality of LTI system. The causal systems are those systems whose output depends on the present value and the past value of the input, right? So that is h of t is equal to 0 when t is less than 0, right? So unlike the LTI systems without memory, in LTI system without memory, h of t is 0 when t is not equal to 0, right? So causal systems are those systems where h of t should be equal to 0 when t is less than 0, and it is non-zero when t is greater than or equal to 0. So in that case, the convolution integral can be rewritten in this form, where now the lower limit, instead of minus infinity, it is 0, because h of t represents a causal LTI system. Therefore, its value would be 0 when t is less than 0, right. So we can actually rewrite the limit from 0 to infinity instead of minus infinity to infinity. So we get a more simplified integral convolution integral formula. Then we have stability of LTI systems. LTI system stability has many definitions. One of the basic definition is an LTI system is stable if a bounded input is applied and it produces a bounded output. A bounded input means input which has some predefined limit, which has some boundary condition, right. So for example, a DC motor, right. So a DC motor, for example, has a maximum input voltage, allowed maximum input voltage is 24 volt DC, and you cannot exceed that limit, otherwise it would damage the motor, right. So that 24 volt DC voltage is called the boundary condition, right. So when a bounded input is applied, then output produced by the system should also be bounded within that predefined limit, right. So let's say that input x of t is a bounded input with a boundary equal to b, where the magnitude of x of t should be less than b, where b is the boundary condition, right, for all values of t. And when this input is applied to any LTI system, then output should also be bounded. Then the system is said to be bounded input and bounded output stable, otherwise not. So if that input is applied to any LTI system, then we can compute the output using convolution formula, right. So convolution of x of t with h of t, h of t means the impulse rate of the system, is given by this formula. Now magnitude of y of t can be obtained by taking the magnitude of the convolution of h of t and x of t. One thing you should notice here, that h of ta is written first and then x of t minus ta. So I have used here the commutative property that we discussed in the first few slides of this lecture. Now the magnitude of integral of product of two functions is always greater than or equal to integral of product of magnitude of these functions, right. So the magnitude of y of t should be less than or equal to integral of the product of magnitude of h of t and x of t. Now the magnitude of x of t minus ta, the maximum magnitude allowed, the boundary condition of x of t minus ta is b, which is constant, right. So we can take this b out of the integral, and you can rewrite this integral in this form. Now under what conditions the right hand side of this inequation can be bounded, because we know b is already bounded, right. B is the bounded value. So if this integral is bounded, then y of t would also be bounded, right. So the condition for stability is, for LTI system, that this integral should be bounded. So y of t is bounded if and only if the integral of h of magnitude of h of ta is bounded. So therefore the system is stable if the impulse response is absolutely integrable, right. If the integral of this is finite, is less than infinity, then we can say this system is stable. For example, a bounded input is applied to any LTI system having impulse response h of t. So the impulse input is bounded input, because it has magnitude unity, which is actually finite magnitude, and the output produced by the system if it is in this form, right, exponentially decreasing, so that output is also bounded, right, it is decreasing towards 0. So this, in that case, we can say that system is stable, because the impulse response of the system is converging towards 0. It is finite when time reaches infinity, right. If it is increasing exponential, right, if it increases with time, then it is not bounded, and we will say that the system is unstable, right. So the impulse response test for any system can determine the stability of the system, and therefore step impulse response is very important in determining the characteristics of the system, particularly the stability of the system. So we now know that how important the impulse response of the system is. First, using the impulse response, we determine the output of the system for any given input using convolution. Now we know that we can use impulse response testing to determine the boundedness of the system, or in other words, the stability of the system. So that is end of this lecture, and if you have any queries regarding this lecture, you can send me an email which is given in the first slide of this lecture. Thank you very much.